Working as the Post and Courier's Clemson reporter, I get to cover some of the top teams in the nation. One of the things that makes my job really interesting is being able to be at the facility, talking to the players, getting to learn their stories. With a subscription to the Tiger Take, you'll not only get to read everything I write on postandcourier.com, but you'll also get the latest updates straight to your inbox. But more than that, you'll get insights that you won't find anywhere else.
Hi, this is Gene Sapakoff, sports columnist and college sports editor for the Charleston Post and Courier. Welcome to our weekly edition of Countdown to Kickoff, starring Post and Courier Clemson beat reporter John Blau. If you'd like to see more of John's insight about things on and off the field, Clemson Tiger, everything Clemson Tigers, check out postandcourier.com/the Tiger Take. John, always these last few weeks, got to start with a Clemson injury report and what you expect from the Tigers going up to Chestnut Hill for a game against Boston College on Saturday night on ABC.
Brian Brzee is out. We know that for sure. He has had a kidney issue that he's had to have checked out, have tests done. And supposedly he's doing better, but Dabo Swinney says that he needs to kind of work his way up, continue to be day-to-day condition, things like that. So he's going to be held out of the Boston College game. Xavier Thomas, the defensive end, he's been out obviously all 5 games thus far this season. Dabo Swinney says he practiced last week. He's still practicing. He's been really close, and he said that I think for about 2 or 3 weeks now that he's really close. But we'll see if he's actually back. I would expect Sheridan Jones back as well, a cornerback. And obviously Andrew Makuba made his way back last week, had the targeting call. It was in the first half, so he'll be fine. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. Getting a couple pieces back, we're probably still going to be without one big piece in Brian Brzee.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, John. After this, you've got a home game against Syracuse and then a bye week for Clemson before that Notre Dame game. So obviously you can't take Syracuse lightly, probably can't take a road game against Boston College lightly either, even though they have struggled a lot until beating Louisville last week. But let's go back to the NC State game. Quite a showcase for the Tigers. They kind of get down, and then I think it was a 24-3 run that they had there to really put the game away. And they're up 30-13 before that last fairly meaningless touchdown by the Wolfpack. What really impressed you on offense and on defense for Clemson against the Wolfpack?
I think it's the same old story. I mean, DJ Uyunglele, the way he's able to manage the offense, and not just with his arm, but just running the ball. I mean, he had a great 38-yard run that helped kind of set up one scoring drive. The way he was able to sit in the pocket for a solid 5 seconds and just wait behind his protection and hit Will Shipley on his 5th read all the way down to the 1-yard line to score that one touchdown before half. And honestly, the way they played complementary football, because up to this point, it seemed like one unit had to pick up the other in all of these games. But obviously the offense goes down and scores to end the first half. And then you get a great stop on the first drive of the second half by the defense. Barrett Carter comes into the backfield on a blitz and absolutely obliterates Devin Leary. That sets them back. And then Clemson gets the ball back, scores again. So just the way they've been able to complement each other. And obviously, if you look at the defensive side of the ball, just being able to stop the run, NC State was completely one-dimensional in that game because they were only able to get 34 yards on the ground. So just a very overall impressive performance from Clemson. I think exactly the kind of performance you wanted to see to feel better about them, especially coming off of Wake Forest. And now they have a chance to really grow and build here as they go through the rest of the ACC schedule.
And if you'd like more of this sort of John Blau insight, check out his newsletter, postandcourier.com/the Tiger Take. John, a lot of or some segments of Clemson Nation and others were a little hard on Wes Goodwin, the new defensive coordinator, coming out of that Wake Forest double overtime game. There seemed to be, some confusion maybe in the secondary and just other stuff associated with a high scoring game in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. How do you think Wes Goodwin acquitted himself against NC State, understanding that, Devin Leary, not Sam Hartman, not anybody else, was the ACC Player of the Year pick coming out of the ACC kickoff thing, and that Wolfpack, in theory at least, has a very good offense. Wes Goodwin, your thoughts?
Yeah, obviously the Wake Forest game, I think the one critique was that they didn't adjust fast enough. Obviously, they let those corners sit on islands, got burned a lot. I don't think they allowed that to happen this week. And also they made an adjustment in terms of Andrew Makuba coming back, didn't just play him at safety. They had him a ton at corner, which kind of helped solidify that kind of young, somewhat struggling rotation there. But whether it's Wes Goodwin or it's just the players playing better, I mean, again, they benefited from a much better pass rush in this game. I mean, just KJ Henry, Miles Murphy, a lot of those guys who really hadn't popped a lot in the pass rush. I mean, Clemson was able to not blitz a ton. Obviously, that Barrett Carter play I was talking about to start the second half, but get a lot of pressure with just that front four and able to get home and really, get after Devin Leary to an extent, I think was really big. But in terms of, I mean, as a defensive coordinator, you have to give Wes Goodwin credit. I mean, it seemed like he put them in the right positions to make plays. And Devin Leary, like you said, I mean, he did not go bonkers in that game. I think it was about 250 yards passing, which, is a nice day, but it's not out of this world like Sam Hartman was the week before. So I think Wes Goodwin was able to make the proper adjustments, and he's got players coming back now as well, which definitely helps.
John, let's dig a little deeper into DJ Uiagalelei. Dabo Sweeney has said the difference in a word is confidence. I also think that if you could elaborate, it's confidence in teammates. If you looked at the games the first week or two last year, the first few weeks, the typical drop back would be DJU dropping back and saying, oh, wait a minute, where's Travis Etienne? Where's Amari Rogers? They're not here. Awkward throw. Now he's much, much more decisive. And I wonder if a lot of that doesn't have to do with the fact that guys like Randall, Williams, and maybe mostly Davis Allen seem to be really emerging as almost like all ACC caliber guys. For sure, Davis Allen. What can you say about the way the receiver group has kind of improved?
Yeah, I mean, Dabo Sweeney said this a million times last year, and I don't know if we always listened to him. He says, it's not just DJ, it's that we're not good enough around DJ. And I think sometimes that'd be seen as deflection for a quarterback who's struggling, but I do think there was some truth to that. You had a lot of really inexperienced players in the receiving core, and then you had some moving pieces in the offensive line. Again, I come back to number one. I think just the protection he's getting is the biggest deal, and the fact that he have Blake Miller, a true freshman right tackle out there who's holding his own, not allowing a lot of leakage. And you have Jordan McFadden on that left side. He has the calmness and the poise now to sit back there, work through his progressions. And like you said, I think that there are receivers that he has trust in. I think Antonio Williams has come in and proven as a true freshman that he's ready for the moment. I mean, he does not, if there's a pass in his vicinity, he does not drop it, and he finds ways to get open. So he's been absolutely clutch. Bo Collins has taken a step forward as a sophomore. I think he's a guy who, again, he has a ton of rapport with, going back to high school in California. Obviously, they know each other really well. Davis Allen, you bring up Davis Allen, but I think they have two really great tight ends, which is really rare to have. And Davis Allen and Jake Brenningstool, who DJ can just throw up a jump ball, and he knows those two guys are going to come down with it. Two very athletic guys who are very have great ball skills. They're able to come down with those jump ball situations. And even Will Shipley, again, going down the sideline, hitting them with a laser. The guy snags it and nearly scores a touchdown. So he's got a lot more pieces around him that he has in practice and can get some continuity with them throughout the week. And B, when he gives them an opportunity to make a play, they have made a play. So I think that gives him a lot of confidence. And I think everybody's kind of building off of each other right now. And that offense just has a ton of confidence, and they're having fun making plays out there. I mean, I just think of the smile on DJ's face coming across the goal line on that bootleg. I mean, it just seems like he's in a different place mentally.
Really good point, John, about the two tight ends and about Will Shipley kind of inventing a wheel route out of an impromptu scramble by DJU against NC State. Now, let's talk a little bit off the field here, John. And I just wonder if you have any idea what you're getting into going into Massachusetts this weekend, because the Red Sox stink. They will not be in the playoffs. The New England Patriots are having one of the worst seasons ever, again, with Bill Belichick. Boston College isn't very good. So 2 questions. One, what kind of anger and wrath do you expect from the sports fans of metropolitan Boston? And 2, where are you going to find a good bowl of chowder?
Well, I'm expecting not to encounter the wrath all that much because I'm just going to try to avoid them. Because I'm going into Providence and then driving an hour to the game, and then I'm going to stay in Boston late that night and sneak out. So hopefully I won't have to deal with too much of the Boston wrath and anger. As far as the bowl of chowder, I guess I'm going to have to figure that out on my way. I haven't done any pre-research, but I guess I'll go and figure that out later.
I recommend the Freedom Trail and Faneuil Hall. If you haven't been there, you probably have. Let's talk about the Boston College Eagles. Kind of a weird team, probably the most disappointing team in the ACC. No, I guess Virginia probably is that. But anyway, they lose to Rutgers. They get hammered by Virginia Tech, which, you know, it is lost to Old Dominion, etc. But then come back and win a really gutty game. And Jeff Hafley, very, very emotional. In fact, that's the word he used in the interview on the field after the game, beating Louisville last week at BC. What do you make of Boston College?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, just some really not so great performances, and then obviously coming out with a shootout win over Louisville. What to make of them, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see. But you know, Clemson and Dabo Swinney's talked about, they always have a tough battle against those guys. I mean, even if you go back 2 years, you know, obviously DJU was starting at quarterback because Trevor Lawrence got COVID, and Clemson, you know, has a slow start. They have to battle their way back in that game. I mean, Boston College, for whatever reason, gives Clemson problems. It was a 19-13 game last year. It's a very physical team, is what Dabo Swinney said. He expects, you know, it to be a really physical game. And then also Zay Flowers is a star receiver, and Phil Dracovic is able to make some plays and get him the ball. So, I don't know. I mean, it's a game that Clemson should win. I mean, if they were to lose it, it would obviously be a huge upset. But it is a game that could maybe be closer than you think, where people come out of it a little, you know, maybe disappointed that the score is not as wide of a margin as you think it should be. So it'll be interesting to see. I have no clue.
Well, speaking of clues or no clues or lots of clues, this is that countdown kickoff time of the week where we wish we had a drum roll and we ask Post and Courier beat reporter John Blau for a score prediction for Clemson against Boston College on ABC prime time Saturday night in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. John, your thoughts?
I'm going to go 34-13. How about that?
Yeah, I think that sounds pretty good, and that would also have Clemson barely covering a spread if people are into that sort of thing. Well, for John Blau, I'm Gene Sapakoff, the Charleston Post and Courier. Thanks for joining us on Countdown to Kickoff. And if you would like more of John Blau's Clemson football insights, check out postandcourier.com/the Tiger Take.